What's up? What's up? Damn, we're gonna get into it. Today's video, if you haven't read the title, it is 5 tips to becoming more creative and embracing more creativity. Before this video starts, for the first half of the video, I did not look at the camera. I was looking at myself because this is my first video. So, whatever. Let's just pretend that I am looking at the camera. You know what I mean? Let's just say you moved a little bit this way. Cool. I'm not gonna over explain it, but thank you. All right, let's get back into it. If you want to create and do creative stuff, these are 5 tips that from somebody who's done a lot of work in creating. I've worked with a lot of people. I've met some moderate success from it. Stuff that I've learned on the way.
I'm so jabbed about tonight.
I can't.
My TV came on.
Really?
What?
Do you want me to pay for the tickets?
Shut up. All right, let's start with number 1. Write stuff down. This is like a crucial skeletal fact about doing something. You need to write stuff down. You need to plan, you need to organize, and I might be met with boos here, but you cannot just always go from the dome. Sometimes you're gonna have to really plan to organize some stuff. And this is coming from someone with ADHD. I hate playing organizing stuff, but I do it though. I know I have to. I have to do it. So here's the stuff that writing stuff down is crucial for. Number 1, planning. It's super crucial for planning. Planning is important because you want to know what you're even doing or what you're writing about or what you're making or what you're creating about. Planning is important because it's the concept. The concept is important to whatever you're doing. There's got to be a reason, there's got to be a way, there's got to be some type of idea in your head. Your brain can hold a lot of memory, but it can't hold all the memory in the world, and planning is the best way to hold that. Getting out of your head, you put so much stuff in your brain that it's unfair to you to leave it all in there and have to remember all of it. That's just gonna make it more frustrating for you in the end of the day. Because if you have this genius idea that you believe in, or you want to do something fun, why are you holding it all in your head? If you're not gonna be able to keep all the information, because maybe some later you're gonna get robbed or something, and that's gonna stay in your brain. You're not gonna remember, the little part about your photo shoot that you were gonna do, or all this stuff. Write it down, because you'll be surprised by how much you forget. Writing stuff down also helps you see things in new ways. When you write something down, you might be able to understand, oh, you know what, this wouldn't work in practicality, or oh, this would work, and maybe it would be even better. It also helps you communicate to people your idea or your plan or whatever you want to do. You're gonna need to do that. You're gonna need to be able to communicate to people, because you're gonna be working with people if you're doing something like photography, or if you're doing something models. If you're doing more of an independent art, painting, or something like that, if you want to communicate to yourself what you want to do, that's important. You're the one making it. You need to know what you're doing. And then also, writing stuff down helps you refine and edit your ideas. If you're not able to refine and edit your ideas, then you're gonna have a lot more problems than being creative. Numero dos is find your inspiration sources. You need to have inspiration sources. It's super crucial. You need to have sources for inspiration, because otherwise you'll be stagnant. You will not ever grow, and you won't want to make things. You won't even know what to make. If you keep on just going off of what you know without even looking for them or having inspiration pieces, you're just gonna end up rehashing the same ideas. You're not gonna really expand your boundaries, and you're gonna get tired. You're gonna get bored of doing art. When you look at stuff that's really good or something that's really new, you're gonna keep on coming to that, and you're gonna be like, I wanna make something like this, or oh, you know what, I see this and that. Because not every piece of art, not every piece of media is gonna be perfectly how you see it. You see stuff differently than everybody else. So you're gonna wanna have to look at inspiration, find new things, and be like, you know what, I can do it like this. Oh, I can do it, I can do this. Just saying. In the book Atomic Habits, which I read during the pandemic when I was going through, I don't think I can say pandemic. When I went through let's just censor it. When I went through the pandemic, I read Atomic Habits. When I went through the pandemic, I went through the struggle like everybody else did. And I read the book Atomic Habits, and one of the biggest things I took away from it was that the way to make a habit easier is to make it more accessible. So go ahead, open up YouTube, get Pinterest, pin it to your home screen, put it where you can see it immediately, where you can open it up fast. Put it on your home desktop, on your computer, your laptop, whatever you're using, your Fire, Kindle, your 3DS, whatever. Books still exist. Put the book on your shelf. Put the book on your table. Put the book somewhere. Put the book down where you can easily access it. It will always keep you motivated. It will keep you, whatever your inspiration is, if you leave it near you, you'll be able to access it easily. No sense of having to always immediately look up Pinterest, or you have to look up certain YouTube videos. You're gonna get burnt out. Your energy is a currency as well, which I got a whole video about that, but we'll get to that another day. Number 3, This one's a big one. This one's a super big one. It's called start small. Start small. And I know this is kind of a common trope. Everyone tells you do it one day at a time. And it sounds nice, but when you're creating something, obviously you want to jump at ambitious things. And I'm about to make an argument on why starting small actually helps you do ambitious things more than just starting with an ambitious project. Not to say you can't just start off with an ambitious project. If you're built like that, go ahead. But this is something that I found has worked for me, and I've been able to do some really great stuff that people have really liked by starting small. And it's not in the way you think it is by starting small on one ambitious project. It's starting small in general as an artist. Ambitious projects are great, trust me, you'll get there. You'll do that. But if you click on this video to start getting more consistent with being creative, it's clear you might already have a problem with it. And having an ambitious project is already gonna be more of a task and a problem, which we'll talk about problems later, but you want to start creating first before you even worry about big stuff. The simple idea is that you want to start. Starting is how you build momentum. I have a YouTube video that I watched about success. I'm gonna have to put it in the bio. I don't know, I forgot what the name is, but I have to find it. Success was deemed more likely after you already accomplished a successful event. With creating things, you need to just get the ball rolling. You need to push it out. You need to get done. Stop being lazy and push it out. Start something. You gotta start with something. And starting means more than planning. It means more than thinking. You can have the greatest idea in the world, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start. It's gotta be put on paper. It's gotta be put out. It's gotta be put on the stencil or canvas or whatever. It gotta be put in the camera. You gotta click the buttons. And not only do you have to start, but unfortunately, you have to finish. You have to finish to get the ball really going. You have to have some objective measurement. If you're an aspiring, what did I say? If you're an aspiring architect, you're gonna wanna build the Eiffel Tower or something of that nature. But you can't start out building the Eiffel Tower. You gotta start somewhere. How could you build the Eiffel Tower as an aspiring architect if you've built nothing before? Absolutely nothing. You have to start. This goes back to the foundation thing that I was talking about. You need a foundation to build upon. And if you have no foundation, you're not gonna build nothing. You're not gonna be able to get to the giant goals and the aspiring projects that you wanna do. You're gonna have to start. Not only do you need foundation, but your creative projects and things you do are gonna need foundation too. If you can't prove to yourself you can finish smaller, easier, less ambitious projects, how could you ever finish a more ambitious project? Simple science. 1 + 1 = 2. The truth is, a lot of more ambitious projects require a lot of experience and collaboration. And if you haven't started on anything, you're not going to convince anybody to join you unless they just see the vision, or they wake up your mind, they look into your mind like Professor X, and you're not going to have experience. You're not going to have experience. You're not going to be able to do. You're not going to be able to learn from your mistakes. You're not going to be able to know how you work. You're not going to be able to know your own process if you haven't processed at all. You require those two things to start, and you probably don't have them at the beginning. I didn't. No one does. You didn't wake up Michelangelo. Michelangelo woke up Michelangelo, and he was born Michelangelo, which is what I meant to say. But you know what I mean. He had to make himself Michelangelo because there's probably a bunch of other people named Michelangelos. I'm getting off topic. I started out, before I did all the crazy photo shoots that I've done, show them right here. This is some more ambitious stuff that I've done. I started out doing pictures of my friends. Simple pictures of my friends. I'll show that too. Let's put that out. Yep, look at that, look at that. Ain't that crazy? That's so tough. No huge themes. No huge themes or any crazy concepts or whatever. Just work. It was work. And they were ambitious to me at the time. And why were they ambitious to me at the time? Because I started out with nothing. If you start out with nothing, the next thing you do is ambitious because you haven't built anything before. So you have now built something. That's ambitious. It might not be ambitious to the level of the huge artist you want to do, but like I said, you are doing something ambitious. Don't mistake prestige and experience with ambition. You are being ambitious with whatever you make first try. My small photos I took with my friends were big to me. And that's the most important thing, because all the other stuff and all the other opinions and expertise, it don't matter, especially when you're starting out. It's big to you. You know why it was ambitious and big to me? Because I didn't do it before. It didn't exist before. I didn't do it before. There was no, I didn't do it. I know I wanted to do ambitious, crazy things. I know I wanted to do crazy videos. I know I wanted to do what I do now. But you have to ramp up to that. You have to learn that process. You have to start out with a foundation. So if you have an ambitious idea or something that's real grandiose, maybe start out with doing something smaller and save that idea. You can save ideas, crazy idea to think about, but you can save a project and just do it another time when you have more experience and expertise in doing it. It's not dead if you can't immediately do it. It's not dead if you're not immediately perfect at it. That's something you can get at any other time in the world. There is no deadlines for you until you start working for other people. There's no deadlines for you until you feel like you have expectations that you can meet. But you have to be able to understand and know what you're able to do within deadlines, and you can't do that without experience in the first place. And you cannot give me the impatient excuse. You cannot give the impatient excuse. You cannot give the impatient excuse either of, oh, I'm too impatient to drop something. I want to just drop it immediately and I don't want to wait for this project. When you haven't released anything in the first place, if you have not released anything at all, you have been plenty patient on making something. So you might as well just blend into that. You might as well lean into that and just wait for the right time to really perfectly execute it. Because when you don't fully execute something to your vision of it, at least within the certain frame of it, you're gonna do your projects just to whatever, injustice. So when I say start small, I'm not saying to limit yourself. That's something you can't do ever. The idea is, if you want to paint the Mona Lisa, you have to start by painting a flower, because you don't know how to paint the Mona Lisa if you can't paint a flower. So start painting your flowers. Start painting your flowers, go out and do whatever it is. If you're a painter, start painting the flowers, like I said. If you're a photographer and you want to do some crazy photo shoots in the future, super dope concept of the people flying or whatever, that's cool. But you start out taking pictures of a flower. Why not? Let's keep using the flower metaphor. I'm bored. Keep on shooting. Shoot something small. Because number one, if you haven't shot before, I just realized I'm not looking at the camera. Damn. Number 4, this one's gonna be hard for all the mysterious Playboy Cardi type people, or the lonely, popular loner artists, creatives, whatever you do. You gotta reach out and collaborate. You have to collaborate, you have to network, you have to grow, you have to show your work to people, you have to do things like that. You have to reach out, you have to be whatever. And trust me, I get it. There's a world of people who are F the world, I wanna do whatever I wanna do, and stuff like that. That's great. You're gonna need an audience. You're gonna need people if you want to do anything. There's nothing wrong with making art for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying art needs to be made for someone else, or that you need to be following people's ideas and expectations all the time. I'm just saying that if you care enough about being creative, there's a reason why you care about being creative. And sometimes you're gonna need to reach out to people for mentorship. You're gonna need to reach out to people for ideas. You're gonna need to reach out to people for getting stuff done. You can't always do everything by yourself, and if you can, that's dope. That is super dope. There's a couple artists I know who can do almost everything by themselves. A lot of different artists, different mediums, you can do most of it yourself. That's fine. But behind the scenes, are you gonna be able to do everything yourself without support? Are you gonna be able to do everything without somebody seeing it and giving you refinements? Unless you can be that perfect master for yourself and have discipline to perfectly critique yourself and be honest with yourself, that's fine. But the thing is, if you're on the video for how to be more creative and you are trying to discipline yourself more, that already shows that you probably don't have the discipline. And that's fine. Everyone doesn't start out with the discipline. But you have to reach out to people if you can't do it yourself. And that's perfectly okay. We're not perfect human beings. We're not able to do everything ourselves. I damn sure have not been able to do everything myself. There's so many people I need to credit. Make the list. All right, a lot of people. And I'll even be honest myself. I feel like I can do a lot of things myself. I feel like I can do everything myself. I think I can do whatever is in my mind with my own skills. I can learn the skills that I need. I can learn how to do this. I can learn all this stuff. But the truth of the matter is, you might be slowing yourself down. I sure as hell was. Because if someone else knows how to do it, if someone else can teach you, if somebody else is willing to help and support you, that's gonna boost you. That's gonna help you be more creative, because it's gonna be, number one, somebody who's gonna be accountable for you, somebody that's gonna want the best for you, someone that believes in you. And sometimes you're not able to hold yourself accountable. You're not able to believe in yourself. You might need someone else to do that. And that's perfectly fine, because once again, we're not perfect. We're not X-Men. Well, they're not perfect. What's like a perfect person? Well, no one's perfect. That's like every artistic form. Whatever. Fuck all that. In some art forms, in a lot of art forms, you can't go out without reaching out and collaborating and meeting new people. That's just a must. It's a must. I know for me, my photography started out by me reaching out to people and reaching out to models and stuff like that. So if you're a photographer, that's especially an art form where you need to meet somebody, you need to talk to somebody, you need to go out and do something. You can do self-portraits, you can do pictures of nature, that's all cool. That's all cool. But I mean, eventually, if you're doing something for an audience, which a lot of us are, or if you're doing something with the idea of an audience looking, maybe not for the audience, but with the audience in mind, aren't you gonna wanna speak to them? Aren't you gonna wanna know who they are? I don't know. It's more debatable than I think. You have people in your life, unless you're the loneliest person in the world, which in that case, DM me, because you're not gonna be the loneliest person in the world. People are willing to help. If you literally have no support or friends, you can probably find somebody or message. Ask the right people if they can help, whether it be by being your model, being a person to listen or see your work, or being a person to actually help build the thing. A lot of people admire you and help you more than you think. Creativity is fun, and people love fun. It's what we do. I've made real, genuine friends through asking for help or contacting people. And you can't think you're beyond reaching out. Go open your social media account, DM that person you think is a super cool creator, or DM a friend and ask them to help with a project. DM a peer who seems to be interested. If you really want to create, you have to create yourself. And that means asserting yourself and putting yourself in the presence of others. Speaking on getting a feel, you have to get a feel by getting feedback on your work. I know, boo me, boo the idea of that. That's unfortunate. Yes, that means you have to talk to other people. Yes, that means you have to talk to other people and show them your work. The good thing is, you don't have to do it that much and you still make it natural for you. At the end of the day, it's gonna feel embarrassing. It's going to make you feel nervous. You're going to be scared. But if you don't feel these things, you're not doing anything new and you're not creating. Trust me, these are good emotions to have. Turn it into excitement. In the book of creativity by, I can't spell or say his name, but I'm gonna put it right here. He establishes that while everybody might hate critics and reviewers, it's entirely necessary to filter out bad, meaningless work by people who might just be trying to scam or put no thought and effort into what it is. It's how art and society progresses, through a frame. We need people to give feedback and critique and have audiences of critics, because otherwise we wouldn't know what good art is. We wouldn't know what bad art is. We wouldn't know any of this. And I'm pretty liberal when it comes to the idea of not having bad art. I think a lot of art is really good and might not just meet certain thresholds. But if you want to be successful, you can do your own thing, but you have to do it well and you have to meet certain expectations and goals and ideas no matter what. And that's just a reality of it all, because otherwise we'll be letting anything fly. And that's a whole nother debate. Let's not debate about that. I don't care about the toilet debate right now. I can make a video about that, the whole toilet, is that art or not, whatever. What art is a whole nother video. All I'm saying is, it's how art and society progresses. We might hate the idea of being judged, but art wouldn't exist without it. I'm not saying live and die by judgment and to always be worried about others, because a lot of innovative, talented artists create for themselves and aren't understood. But once again, the foundation and understanding of what's good art to everybody and the things you can improve on are important to creating, no matter who or why you're making it. So go reach out and talk to others about art. You'll really start creating good stuff, even if it sucks at first. Number 5, and this might possibly be the most important one, so we really gonna break this one down. I'm not gonna cap to you, bro. Number 5 is embrace problems and problem solving. You have to have problems, and let me explain why. I feel like when I started creating things, I would always be frustrated by the amount of problems I would have. I feel like when I start creating things, I would always run into the problem of having problems. Let's say that you do plan something and you do start working on something and you have this idea in your head and you know what you want to do with it. You start working on it. The bad part is you're gonna run into problems, the boogeyman. Whether it be, I don't know how to make this work, or what color should I choose, or how am I gonna do this, or this isn't coming out how I thought it would. And because of these problems, you might start to idle, or you might start to idle or feel demotivated, and you might start to say, oh man, this idea is stupid, I'm gonna come back to it. Or God forbid, you'll think, I suck as an artist, I cannot do this, I don't know what I'm doing, and you just give up. Let me blow your mind real quick, bro. Especially creating new and exciting things, to you or other people is defined by having problems. You need problems to solve. That's the act of creating. You're trying to execute an idea, and the only way something is made is if you change and solve things in order to change it. You wanna make number 4? You gotta do 2 plus 2 or 3 plus 1. At the end of the day, you're gonna have problems. If you don't want to run into problems, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. You can go buy somebody else's art. You can go buy somebody else's art. There's no problem in having an art piece by somebody else. But to start being creative, you have to embrace problem solving. It's a beautiful part of the process, and it's a frustrating as hell one too. That's how we create. You wouldn't be creating things. You wouldn't be creating things without putting things together. And putting things together and making it work isn't easy. Beside Kendrick Lamar's discography, nothing in this world is flawless. Without conflict or problems, not creating something, especially not anything novel. You're just doing something, which is okay sometimes. Sometimes you need to just do something in order to put something on paper, or to get a photo out, or to get yourself back in the act. But the art of creating art is not just doing something. So you gotta start telling yourself, it's okay to have problems. It's okay to have problems. Start embracing them. Look at them as challenges and believe in yourself. If it wasn't a challenge, what pride would you have in your art? What pride would you have in making something? That's what really the beauty and reality of it is if that you don't have pride in making something, and if you don't have a challenge, what are you embracing? What really drove you to do it? Because if you just wanted something to be made for you, you could just pay somebody to do it, and you could tell them what you want. ChatGPT will do that shit. I ain't gonna lie. But if you truly believe in yourself and you think you have an idea and you have skills that you want to portray and show to the world, you have to embrace problems, because a problem is something you can solve, and that's confidence. That's not only confidence, but that's art in itself. That's what art is. It's to be able to portray these things beautifully and portray it with your mindset and your vision of it. And it's not going to be easy, but that is what makes it valuable. If it was easy, everybody would do it. That's a common trope, niche. That's not a niche, it's a cliche, sorry. That's a common cliche, whatever. You're gonna have doubt, you're gonna have difficulties, you're gonna have problems. Every artist does. It's what makes them amazing. It's what makes art something incredible. If you thought creating was gonna be easy line of here to there, I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you, or whatever the hell they be saying. You can't only trust the process, but you gotta love it too. Once you start embracing difficulty, change, and problems, you can start to accept it and not have to deter you from creating. There's no reason why I said start small, because smaller work equals smaller problems. You're gonna need to build the confidence by solving smaller problems first. After all the hard work and labor you do to make something, you can actually be proud of your work because you took growth and hard work to make it possible. Art in itself is created by problems. Hey, nobody I know or nobody has ever done this one specific idea I have in my head. That's a problem. It's time to do something about that. So if you're looking to be more creative, start embracing the fact that you have problems. Start embracing problems. Accept it, because it's gonna happen. And that's the whole act of creativity. You can't create something without a problem, because otherwise there's no solution. And that's what art is. It's a solution to an idea or concept that you had. Make problems and solve them. You're already solving a problem by watching this video, because you're creating yourself. You recognize that you have a problem, or you want to be better at something, and you looked up, or you saw something, or you stayed through to listen to the advice. You're trying to create yourself. And that's a whole nother video once again, the artist being the art itself, but I'm gonna leave that for another day. Embrace problems and be a problem solver. That's what an artist is and what an artist does. And that's what makes them so good. And that's what's gonna make you good. Let's wrap this up. But that's just my thoughts and my idea as a semi-professional, semi-successful, consistent creative. This is my first video, so comment, do all the YouTube shit they be doing and saying. I just have to say it. I feel like it's like a mandatory, government mandated thing to say at a YouTube video. Also, I'm trying to keep doing this and whatever, so that's a thing. Remember that you aren't just creating something, but you're creating yourself in the process. You have it in you to make yourself better. Believe in it.